on, I like that guy. Or, you know, she's cute. You know, this isn't. And I'm talking about me. But that shouldn't be anyone's reason for making a judgment this time around.
Well, that was Michelle Obama. She was stumping for her husband in Charlotte. But, you know, she brings up an interesting point. It's how you vote and why you vote. Is it based on the issues? Is it based on a candidate's personality? Well, there seems to be one thing in common. This is very, very interesting. It's a new study that says that your psychological traits can predict how you vote. For example, people with lower sensitivities to sudden noises tend to vote Democratic, while those with higher reactions tend to vote Republican more often. So what are some of the other clues about how we cast our ballots? We're paging Dr. Gupta. CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, joins us now from Washington. So this is very interesting. So the physical reactions you have to things could sometimes or somehow influence how you vote?
Yeah, they call it being hardwired in some way, hardwired toward a political tendency. And this is a small study, but one of a gathering number of studies that seems to show the same thing, that there's a biological basis for our political tendencies. Just as you said, Karen, you know, they took people who had self-professed strong political views. Either they were more conservative or more liberal. And what they did was they put them in a room and showed them a series of images, a lot of soothing images, then occasionally a threatening image, like a person who had blood on their face or a spider or something like that. And what they found was that the people with the more self-professed conservative views tended to have a much stronger reaction. They had a harder blink, more of a startle response, more physical manifestations, as did the people with the self-professed liberal views, who tended to have sort of a more equal reaction across the board, whether it was a soothing image, a calming image, or a more threatening image. That was what the study showed, to basically give the people this idea that there is some sort of innate, if you will, trait that dictates our political tendencies.
Yeah, and I'm always fascinated with how science figures this out. One is if this is genetic, do we pass it on to our kids? But also, is it innate, or is the way that our, I guess, life shaped us make us more sensitive to those images?
Yeah, you know, it's a very good question. We asked the authors about that very issue. Your second question first. So if you see two images, for example, the authors gave us an example. See an image of bin Laden, you see an image of the Pope. People in the more self-professed conservative views would immediately have a strong reaction to the bin Laden image, recognize it as a threat, where people with the more self-professed liberal views would take a little bit longer to actually recognize that as a threat. So is one more methodical, or is it just a little bit slower? You don't know what to make of it. As far as passing it on to your children, you know, what we are, I think, more ready to say is that there is a biological basis to our political tendencies. But as you might imagine, it's not the entire picture. You can almost assign a value to it now. You could say that almost 30 to 40% of the way that you think politically is something that you're born with. But that obviously leaves 60 to 70% based on things you grew up with and every experience you've had since you were born.
All right. I wonder what the swing voters think about these various images.
Well,
that's probably a whole new study.
Well, you can be sure that the campaigners are looking at studies like this, trying to better figure out how to campaign, who to target, and how to target those people.
All right. Sanjay, good to see you as always. Thanks.
Thank you.